Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you had a good week. I wanted to have a conversation today, an honest and direct conversation today about the some of the actual struggles that are occurring, given all of the shifts and the changes that are happening around the planet. I know we talked about this before in multiple different layers, but the way the archons operate and the way these forces operate, you're never 100% sure when they're coming in, because they follow your weaknesses and they fall into what's your pet peeve or your weaker spot, and they begin to amplify it. And the way they come in, it's like something slowly begin to dim your light. And without you knowing it, it is slowly decreasing your ability to perceive. And they are camouflaged behind multiple layers behind, and you cannot discern whether the external thing that's happening in your life that's causing you to feel like you're running on glue, or those kind of dreams when you're having them, you feel like somebody's pursuing you and you have to run, and you're trying to run very fast, but you seem to be going slow. That kind of feeling, emotionally anyway, that you're trying the best that you can to overcome something. And the more you try, the greater the level of difficulty appears to be. And usually it occurs that these forces follow your weakest point. In other words, if it's your health, they will attack your health. If it's your finances, they will attack your finances. If it's your family, they will attack your family. Whatever, if it's power for you, they will attract your connection to power. Whatever is your weakest point, that's where they begin to attack. And what happened is that all of these events and circumstances get created around you, and it's so gradual and so incremental. At first, it's kind of incidental. Little things begin to happen that seem to be, you're ignoring them, and you are staying in positivity and radiating light. And then the next thing happened, and the next thing happened, and before you know it, you're in a situation where you're so deep into this struggle that you don't have the clarity to understand what is the root cause. You don't understand where is it coming from, because you're busy putting your fingers on every hole that's in the dike of your weakest point. So if it's your health, you're busy running after this specialist and doing this treatment and doing this. If it's your finances, you're trying to figure out, how do I get this money to go there? How do I make some extra money to do this? If it's your family internal relationship, you're trying to mend and repair. What do I have to do? Conversation and et cetera, trying to figure out. Or it could be your own internal peace. It could be a disruption of your own internal state of peace and alignment. And as this is happening, you're not even aware that there is a puppet master, a mastermind behind this, that's manipulating the whole thing, that's creating and exaggerating your reaction to these external events. You're not realizing that this is what's happening at all. And it takes a minute to get it. And I have to say, every time it happens to me, I am always kind of surprised by the degree to which I was completely blinded by this. For the past month and a half, I've been struggling. I've been struggling very hard. I have a lot of insight. I have a lot of information. I keep wondering, if I didn't have all these blockages, how much information, how much more could I have received, right? And I have my particular weakness, and I've been struggling with this, trying to figure out a way around, and all these blockages and all these obstacles and all these things are coming up. And I am trying to the best of my ability to try to overcome. And ultimately, it was actually the Dhruva mantra that I had distributed out to all of you at the beginning of COVID in 2000. And it was that mantra, because I have a normal morning routine that I do. I'm praying, I'm saying the Archangel Michael sword nonstop for the past 2 months, a month and a half at least. You know, every day I'm saying it, but I am addressing the external causes. I'm asking Archangel Michael for intercession on external causes. I am not dealing with the root cause because the root cause is not visible to me. I want you to understand what I'm saying. These powerful archangels and guides and beings are capable of doing a whole bunch of stuff. But if we're not asking them to really deal with the real issue, they can't address it for us. So I'm spending all of this time trying to figure out how to do it. And I'm not able to figure it out. And I'm saying all these other mantras, all of this other stuff, you know, I have a good hour and a half in the morning for all my routine, and sometimes 2 hours if I have more time to get before I get my days going. I'm up very early to try to get all of that done. And yet I am still having all these issues of not having the kind of clarity that I had, let's say, even March, April, even in the beginning of the pandemic. I had such clarity. And so after I did the Dogra mantra, immediately following that, it's a mantra to remove all negative energies. And it was like a breakthrough. Something dissipated. And I was able to identify who the puppet master was, the very specific archons that were dimming my light and were creating the chaos that I was experiencing. And it was a deep reminder that what I'm writing in my book, when I get to finishing it, is absolutely true. Because I followed the normal protocol, which is once you discover that you've been influenced by an archon, you have to turn around, not cower and be angry and seek vengeance and none of those other negative emotions. Rather, you go around and you have to confront them. Rather, confrontation is the wrong word. You have to decree to them with sovereignty that they have to get away from you and they have no right to interfere with your path. And the moment I did this, I begin to feel them scurrying around and moving away from me, right? Because after all, they were angels that were created as guardian angels to protect us. And that wiring, although they've emancipated beyond that scope of operation, but that wiring still exists. And if you command them, they don't have a choice, they have to obey. So they begin to move away from me. And I then call Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. And this time asking them specifically with my pet peeve, the stuff I was struggling with. I asked them specifically to remove all of the blockages, all the misalignment, all the things that were blocking me, all of the chaos, all of the stuff that was creating all this resistance. And as I presented this to Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, I could feel the help. And then right after this, and it's funny how this happened, because I've said this before, that when you're under the influence of these fallen beings, it's like this, they sedate you, they Novocaine your consciousness. They sedate you, you're in such a state of stupor, of reactivity, that you begin to forget the normal protocols. It's like you have amnesia that would actually help you overcome their influence. And in this instance, something immediately said to me, do the torsion field right now. And the moment I did the torsion field, I felt aligned like I have not felt in over 2 years now, aligned completely to light in such a deep and profound way that I could feel immediately the resolution of my struggle was imminent. And I could see light radiating from me, going into source, everything just dissipating, just light everywhere. And I felt absolutely fabulous. My day continued. It was a warm day that day. I went to the waterfront to do an additional meditation at some point after lunchtime. I did that. I saw a couple of clients. In the most impossible and miraculous way, the struggle resolved itself in 20 minutes, like a snap. It just resolved itself. And I have to say to you, I'm deeply grateful, but I want to share this with you because I know all of you have things that you're struggling with, okay? Things that have been your nemesis, the kind of like, just like chronic things that are in your life that you keep trying to over and over again to overcome. The key for me was when I realized what was happening, the depth of what was happening. I'm not putting blame on anybody. I know what the puppet master are. This is the root cause. And I'm now addressing them from sovereignty. I'm not yelling, I'm not screaming, I'm decreeing, and I'm saying to them, back off. You're not permitted to interfere with me. Move away from me and stop influencing me because I have my eyes fixed on you. My eyes are fixed on you. Yes, Melton, I'll send it to you. Yes, I'll send you the mantra. My eyes are fixed on you. Fix on you. And the moment that happened, it was just like I began to feel them retreating. And then I did the additional step. And when I did the torsion field, and I realized at that moment, since that struggle began, I had not done the torsion field not once. Not once. And I realized how the amnesia worked. There's a kind of like, it's like a slow poison, and it begins to make you, to sedate you, and your ability to critically think about your spiritual practice. You think of everything else but the thing that's going to help you. Because they have vested interest that you don't awake from the entrancement and the spell that they're casting around you to cause you to believe in all kind of BS and doubts and everything else, whilst they are not allowing their true their true self to be visible as the root cause of the issue. So it's an interesting thing that I experienced, and I want to remind you again how this operates, okay? Because all of you are struggling. You know, if you're living on Earth right now, and you're not in a cave somewhere or in some other parallel realities or dimension, you're dealing with a struggle of some kind. And typically for all of us who are on the path of light as a way-shower, we are these beings have vested interests that we don't wake up and we don't become fully aligned, because with misalignment it serves their purpose. The more we're derailing about our pet peeve or the issues that we're having, and we're struggling and we can't see the forest for the tree, we are so lost. They win. Because if all of us were on true alignment, and why they're doing this to me, it's because they don't want me to finish my book. I know it. Because the book will liberate humanity. Or will give enough clarity so that the people who read it can find a way out. So again, I know this, and when I saw this, it was just like, wow. I had been, and yet I had all these other insights. And the way it works, and this is why it's so insidious and it's so difficult to perceive. The darkness does not dominate 24 hours a day. It comes and goes. The struggle, the moment, like for a few hours you're there, and then after that it dissipates. The rest of the day is better, or you begin the rest of the day is fine, and all of a sudden the struggle begins to stranglehold you, and then you begin to feel that you're better. So there is this wave, and we begin to blame ourselves. It's because I'm not doing my spiritual practice enough. It's because I'm not taking the right medicine. It's because I need to get another job. It's because I'm not, there are all these, you begin to blame yourself. When in fact, you should really be focusing on what is really true, which is that you're being manipulated, you're being influenced. So I'm very grateful for the experience, because out of that, one of my core issues dissipated. I'm working on a couple of other stuff as well. And I'm struggling with getting the clarity, the same kind of clarity that I had before. Because the moment I have that alignment where I feel light taking from my core, going all the way into source, and the issue dissolving and releasing, this is what happened when I'm doing hands-on healing with somebody, and I know they're gonna walk off the table instantaneously healed. It's the kind of alignment that I feel. The moment I take an issue and it's that kind of alignment, it will miraculously solve itself. And it's a matter of hours. Any questions, any comments that you may have? As I said, do not underestimate the archon. Do not underestimate them. It would be a catastrophic mistake. They are capable of doing all kinds of things. Now, I had shared with you last week that I had the insight. I don't know if I did or not. Maybe it's the other class I did that too. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I'll share it with you again. Out of that, after that breakthrough happened, I had the insight that, and I am more clear cognizant than I am anything else. I instantaneously know things that it's instant knowing for me. And the clear cognizant awareness was that the war between Russia and Ukraine took a turn. Something shifted big time, and that the best way I can describe it, it's like somebody threw a rock that's going to start an avalanche. That we are in the struggle for either a long time or it's a nuclear struggle. It's going to escalate. It's something very simple happened that day, and whatever that simple thing is, it was a point of no return.
Pierre, when did you say you had that insight?
I'm trying to remember. It was last week.
Because I had you know, me being from Europe and from Poland, I was feeling in my body, you know, this situation. But I just learned something new today, and uh, it shocked me. And uh, let me just say briefly what's happening
Okay.
is the president of Ukraine just made a statement today on CNN to the NATO leaders, because it turns out that they keeping him in a limbo. It turns out he applied to be a member of NATO and they still haven't told him yes or no.
Yep.
And he made a point, if you had said yes, I would not be at war because you have to protect me as just like you would Poland or any other country. So to me, for them not, and if you are not going to do that, then you should have told them no the moment there was the risk of invasion happening. So he could have made a better decision. And to me, them not giving him answer yes or no, to me, their blood is on their hands. And I was surprised. I knew that, you see, I was too busy and I wasn't feeling the best. So I didn't check on. I knew that Ukraine should have been in the NATO sooner. But I thought maybe they didn't apply sooner, you know, maybe they didn't do something. It turns out they didn't, they were postponing it. And to me, it's a crime. To me, it's like you showing them, you throw them under the bus. So all is to say that now he's talking about this, he's bringing it up. And I think at least, you know, at first he didn't think about it because I guess it was such a shock. That's understandable. But now he's thinking, because for them to expect that this tiny little country, can honestly protect themselves against this giant Russian war machine is absolutely ridiculous. It's like an ant coming against me and saying, you know, I can protect myself, and I step on the ant and I say, too bad, you know. And it's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame to me that they even they made them believe it even for a second, and they left them in a limbo. And to me, I don't know, if I was him, I would say, you know, screw you. Let me save my country. Let me save my people, because these people have ties to Russia, and they need to change and work on themselves from within. And I know Russia is doing it already. You know, Dimash is a good example of that. When they love Dimash in there and they listen to him a lot, this is 5D frequency. People are being aware, okay, and they just confused, certainly, and it's gonna take some time for them to get clarity. But you know, and I didn't have time to check on the Tsuna, but I'm glad that he just said that today. It tells me that he's thinking, and for what I know,
Also,
maybe
Ursula,
for what I know, maybe he would decide to save himself, because these guys certainly are not saving him. And save yourself first, and then work through it internally, because they have such a family ties to Russia. It's kind of like, and then the other thing I was thinking, be careful what you wish for. Do you really want to be part of the NATO with all this karma that they have now, all the karma from World War II? Maybe you're better off just working on yourself. So these are the thoughts and ideas I was just going through today. And I'm glad that he started to really thinking critically. So we'll see what happens.
Ursula, I'm sorry, can I say one thing? I just saw in the news that is asking Putin to have peace talk with him directly.
Yes, I think that's what he's thinking, and good for
Yeah,
him.
that's what it was said on MSNBC not too long ago.
Yeah,
That
because
he asked for that.
Yeah, and good for him. God bless him, because I think they threw him under the bus. That's
Okay.
that's outrageous.
Okay, he's been saying this for a long time now. Okay, since the struggle began. Okay, you didn't know this, but he's been saying exactly what
Yeah,
you
I
wrote.
didn't know that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here is the other side of this. The best way I can describe it by using a different example. If NATO accept Ukraine or in any Eastern European country into their alliance, it would be the same way when Cuba wanted to become communist and we had to invade them and push the Russian out. That's what the struggle is about.
Well, first of all, they accepted Poland, which is an Eastern country.
Okay. So what I'm saying to you right now is that it's more complex. The tapestry is more complex.
Yeah, I know. I know it
And
is.
so I'm not defending the American or NATO. I'm just saying that there is another side and a different lens.
Yeah, the side is always the same. They never learned how to do the right thing, because if you were thinking that you're not going to help them, then you should have told them. Okay, from the beginning.
NATO always plays double, and they're playing with this country like puppets.
Not so much.
They promised them something, and they did not.
So
they did
much,
not keep their promises as usual.
and
And Ukraine
so
is in the middle, being completely abused, unfortunately. But they also, Ukraine did not play their cards right, so they made big mistakes as well, unfortunately.
So here, and I just want to add to my thoughts to finish my sentence. It's not so much America; it's the Europeans that doing this. It's the Europeans that undecided.
This is why I'm saying NATO. I'm not talking about American only.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, you know, if the American part, and I think that's why Biden is going to go to Brussels.
Okay, so here is the thing. Biden knows this, and he's right about this. If he sends American troops in Ukraine, it's World War III. And
Yeah, but we're not talking about
it's going to be a nuclear war, and we're all going to die.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, but that was not the part of the. That's not what we wanted. Okay, we did when it.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Okay, so I don't want to have a political. I don't want this to turn into a political thing. But I'm saying that there are different lenses. Let's get a moment of detachment and look at different lenses. So there is that part of the equation, okay? And right now there's also other part, because all the other Eastern European countries, Latvia, Lithuania, all these other countries, Moldova, they're all asking for admittance now into NATO. Watching what they're watching now with Ukraine, they're all seeking entrance into NATO now. So it makes the thing even more complex. I just wanted to add that in the mix.
Well, first of all, if they not taking responsibility for what it means and to take a responsible decision, and it's not so much you know, America, although we're certainly part of the NATO, but the Europeans, they've been stalling from and they're gonna be responsible for that.
Yeah, I agree. And there are lots of, and we're focusing on the wrong thing. Okay, we're all focusing on the wrong thing. Because the bottom line, every war that has ever been fought, every war since we left the Garden of Eden, has been manipulated from both sides by one fallen archon being called Azazel. He is, as according to the book of Enoch, he is responsible for all sins. Focusing on what the American did, the European and NATO and the Ukraine, and all, we're focusing on the wrong thing. As healers, we should pray and ask the archangels to bind Azazel. That's what we should be focusing on. We're focusing on the wrong thing.
Well, yes and no. I mean, because certainly they have to grow up also, you know. It's like when we call like in Jamaica, we also make sure that we do our part. We don't just call him blindly, right? We do our inner work. We do make sure we do the Dantian work. We do that first, and then we ask for help, okay, while we're doing the inner work. So, you know, these guys need to grow up as well, just like we do. So
I'm not waiting for world leaders to grow up, nor for entire nation to grow up, okay? If I'm gonna wait for them, it's gonna take a long time. What I have to do, my responsibility as a healer, is for me to make sure that internally, I am not so emotionally charged and I am at peace with myself. And that I am focusing, that I am not internally at war, putting blame and assigning blame. And the moment I am at peace with myself, and I understand and I'm taking it into a struggle and a battle of principalities, then I can surrender it and let it go and let the higher power take care of what they need to take care of. Because how fast and how slow nations, planetary leaders are going to take responsibility or not take responsibility is not up to me. What I can do as a healer is to bring the issue and the clarity and the peace frequency that I now have inside of me. I can begin to radiate it out and get the click and the alignment to source. And the moment I'm in that space, and enough of us are in that space, and we radiate it out, it will create peace everywhere.
Yes, totally. And this, you spoke about it earlier, and totally, I think the next thing, and it's to find, I've been also struggling to find the root cause for things. And now I'm also, I think what I'm gonna start doing, remember how we used to ask like a sender being to overlight you when you query or when you check?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do that for a while, whoever I'm happen to be working with, because it's been extremely hard to feel in you the root causes, the different emotions. And I just trying that last night, and there was so much interference. It was hard for me to focus. Like normally it was easy to query. It was very difficult. There was a lot of interference. So I happen to be working with the Holy Spirit. I just ask Holy Spirit to overlay me and help me see the root causes. And that was very helpful. And I think I'm just gonna have to do it for a while.
Yep.
And then also I want to make sure that I'm in peace, like with other parts of myself, so I don't feel like a victim.
Daily prayer, the torsion field, and just surrendering all to source has been helping me a lot during this time, and also shifts miraculously things around me. So at least for my own journey, maybe you could go back to that. Deep daily prayer and surrendering all the troubles to source. Torsion field has been helping me a lot. And yeah, this notion of surrendering. Ursula.
I'm doing all that, all of the above. My problem is that I'm looking so deep that it's bringing out a deeper level of issues. So that's why deeper levels and new challenges.
Yeah, it's always going to come up. I think the healing never ends. It's like an onion.
Yes,
we keep peeling off and peeling off.
No,
and then something else comes up.
Oh, of course. Yeah. But I'm doing very intense, deeper inner work. That's why there is an extra challenge.
Yeah, sometimes it gets really intense. Sometimes it gets a little bit lighter. The journey of a light worker.
Yeah, but I am doing all of the above. It's just when you dig deeper, it's like the dust rises up to the up.
So it's true. Sometimes you need to try different things, like Pierre is doing. Like look for something that we did in the past That's what I do. When it's something that I've been doing doesn't work, what I do is I go back to other tools that PR gave us in the past and just pick on them and see if it works. And then usually one or the other works. So
Yeah, that's what I just said. You know,
Yeah.
the all of the above, and one of the tools we used to do is to ask for somebody to overlight you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So we try different things. I'm sure one of them will help.
Yeah.
And thank you both for your comments and contribution. I just want to say that for me, the awareness of and I have more insight, and some of which I cannot share in an open Zoom. I have more insight about what's going to happen with this war and where this is going, but I cannot share it at this moment. I don't have the permission yet. What I can say to you is this: the prayer becomes the key, and your own inner peace, your own, and Ursula, to your point, to the point that you were making just now, the fact that you go deeper and all of a sudden you have doubts, you don't have clarity. When you are in that kind of unclear space, guarantee you the archons are behind it. They are creating the dust and the debris to keep you sedated and to keep you all lost and in chaos, not being able to find your way. They did it to me. They've done it to me multiple times. And you would think that if it happened to you 3, 4 times or 5 times already, that you would have figured it out. Every time they set the trap, I fall in it. Because it happens so slowly and so incrementally that I don't even notice that it's happening.
They're very sneaky.
Yes.
Yeah. Plus, you know, they're using blind spots, you know, things that we may be having.
This is, they know you better than you know yourself. They know all the weaknesses. They are going through those weaknesses. And then it's
100%. With me, it's usually emotions like anger and stuff like that. It's exaggerated at certain times. And I like lose it and I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? It's crazy.
Yep. And as this is happening again, and it's funny, I got the clarity even before the clarity occurred for me. There was and the struggle was still going on. I had a weird detachment to it. And I don't know which part of me did this, but I had like the problem of the issue is that I was inside of it. And at some point I had detached from it and I was slightly outside of it watching it. And the moment I did the Durga mantra, it just broke. And I was able to see, I'm like, oh, the puppet masters. Of course, this makes sense. That's why I've been struggling for the past month and a half. It makes sense. And immediately I'm like, here's the protocol. That's what you do. You do this, that. And then as I followed it, all of a sudden, it was less than, I would say, 3 to 4 hours later. What was an insurmountable obstacle solved itself. And I was in deep gratitude and at the same time totally shocked. So what I can say is that I know that other parts of my life, my own inner life and external experience can be resolved as easily as this one was resolved in the most impossible and miraculous way. It will just poof, dissipate. But it's a question of reminding myself that, because again, it's very hard to describe, but many of you understand, like Ursula was saying, you're querying, you're going deeper, and you don't have the clarity. You know something is there, you're sensing things, and you can't figure out. You're asking for root cause, you're asking for whatever, it's just not showing up because the real culprit, the real party responsible is hiding 3 layers deep. it's camouflage. It's not allowing you to see it.
Yeah, I've experienced lately when they literally just blacken it.
Yeah.
And there has been, and it's almost like, you know, when you have like a growth and expansion, you don't quite own all this or your field or your growth yet. At that moment, that also it's an opportunity for them to be more blocking you. But then in times that settles down as well.
Yeah. But the revelation, of course, after all of this, it is to show that in my own spiritual psychology, the weakness that I have in me that was allowing the archon to penetrate to this back door. Okay? And those are the things that I'm moving now to repair for me. It's typical.
I also find that each time it's a great growth opportunity, because every time we overcome one, we just grow a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this has been happening. This weakness I need to, heal. And then you go on to the next step.
Yep. Absolutely. And so it's important for us to understand and realize how all of these pieces, as they fall in, what we should be doing to radiate peace. And again, all of us, and I know a lot of light workers, including me, we're all praying for peace for the world, because we realize the kind of catastrophe and precipice we are standing over. And all of us are worried about the escalation of this conflict, this war. And so, but if we are not at peace with ourselves, if we have inside of us thoughts of attack, of hoarding, of conquest, of being always right, of having no sense of diplomacy or reconciliation, we cannot radiate peace. The peace that we're going to pray for will be the recitation of a prayer. It will be simply lip service. You're not going to broadcast an emotion that you know. You're going to repeat words. You're going to repeat prayers, but you're not going to broadcast, because what really is inside of you is the attack and the conflict, inner conflict that's creating an eternal combat. And that's what's being demonstrated into the world. If enough of us were at peace within, more specifically all around Europe, if enough people were at peace within, there would be peace right now. As above and so below. What's within is expressed without. So if we can find a way to create that internal peace within us, as we're taking accountability and responsibility for ourselves, if we can find a way to create that peace within us, that peace will open, will allow us to broadcast a kind of like serenity, a kind of sense of reconciliation and resolution that will radiate out from us like a beacon. And by the way, for that day when my situation resolved itself, I was radiating it to the world, because I was so engulfed into the feeling of gratitude and of that instantaneous and miraculous change. I was radiating it toward what was happening in Europe. I was radiating that kind of instantaneous like solution that this can happen. This is what should be accessible to us. This is what the new earth will look like. Where you are accessing that part that connects to source, and you release in it into the quantum field, the struggle that you're having, and asking the quantum field to align the solutions, the perfect solution set for this. You have a desire for what you want. It's for you to be in perfect health, what it would take for Pierre to be in perfect health and in perfect alignment by, and then you give the date, by such and such time, that I would be in perfect health. And that, or whatever it is, that's the struggle. And let this happen instantaneously and miraculously. This is when you go into source. Let this happen instantaneously and miraculously. And if it is not in alignment, because this wish or this desire from my own small mind would actually hurt me, let something better, greater, and more healing be sent to me by your grace. And then you release it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And so by doing this, you're able to align all of the struggles and all the stuff that seem impossible, that seems so big and so large and so like, oh my God, how am I going to resolve this? The solution is there. You know, there's always solution sets. You just have to figure out what they are. And in some instances, it's just aligning it, bringing it to source, and let source connect and let go of the control. You know, it's like
And the solution just happens.
Yeah, it's just like the kids, you know, when you're learning how to ride a bicycle and you become good at it, and you're riding down the street and you're looking at your mom, you say, look, mom, no hands, no hands. You let go of the control. And that's the part that's the most difficult, because the difficulty we have with the Archon is that they make us believe that if we were to do X, Y, Z, that or the other, we're going to have control and we will be able to remove this by our own effort. That's the problem. We are trying to control, manage, and somehow cause this miraculous thing to happen. We're managing it, but we're not controlling it. And the management of it is to learn how to identify where the issue is, and then learning how to, and in this instance, if it's an Archon, uncloak the Archon, see where they are, what they're doing, confront them, command them to withdraw from you, ask the archangels again as a second point to come in and to help you. And then finally, release all of it into source and ask source to take over. The virtue of control, the true power of the virtue of control is in the absence of us being in control. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. The positive aspect of the higher virtue of control is in us, particularly for those of us who are A-type personality, alpha kind of personality that wants to, do everything and have everything be done. The true way of controlling, you align certain things, and then beyond a certain point, you let it go.
Yep, definitely A-type here, and definitely when I let go, miracles happen.
Yeah.
When I try to control and micromanage everything, it happens, but it's just so much more difficult.
Yeah. There is a thin line that we have to walk between surrendering and doing. And the true master can walk on that thin edge and leave no footprint. That's the real struggle. Because bottom line, the survival and all of that, the survival triggers that we're all having, because all of these things that we're experiencing and the Archons are manipulating relate to one thing and one thing alone: survival. whether it's your health, your emotional relationship, your money, it's all about survival. And that survival translate into us, they influencing us into thinking that we can control it. But if you can uncloak them and realize they are the responsible party, and you can begin to bring this upward to a place of surrender, a place of release, a place of letting go. As you release and let go, and you remove your hand away from this, typically speaking, a miraculous and impossible alignment show up for you. Causing, in a matter of moments, sometimes instantaneously, sometimes hours later, sometimes the next day, the solution to show up. We are all masters of self-deceit, and we lie to ourselves all the time. But energy doesn't lie. And since I am claircognizant, a lot of time people will ask me, why don't you do X, Y, Z? Why don't you do it? You know, and I'm getting advice about that or the other. A lot of time the advice is well intended, but it creates more confusion for me as far as the clarity and the simplicity that I need to have to allow source to release the issue. Okay? And sometimes I don't mention my problem and my issue because of this, because I want to have that clarity. Because when the clarity occurs, my body knows the truth. My true gift, as I said, is morphogenic listening. It's holographic listening. When the alignment and what I'm supposed to do shows up, I will know it energetically in my body. It will just shift an energy for me. And in this instance, for this issue, it just showed up. And when it did, it was like, I knew exactly what to do. I'm not trying to be mysterious. I just want you to understand that if you're doing the morphogenic listening, your body knows the truth. Your mind, when you're querying, may lie to you. The archon may cause you to be confused. Sometimes the release that you're asking, it's not the right timing. Sometimes the query that you're doing, you're asking the wrong question. That's why you don't have the clarity. Sometimes the engagement with your inner parts is not coming from a place of neutrality, or what you're trying to discover because of the struggle that you're in, you're still feeling victimized, you're not neutral to it. And because of all of these reasons, you cannot see what you're looking at. But when you become truly neutral to all of it, because as I said, leading to this, I had this real detachment from the situation. And as it became more and more neutral and more detached, suddenly it was a snap. And I listened to the Droga mantra. The moment that happened, everything shifted. So be aware of this. It's a kind of, and again, the practice of the morphogenic listening, as I said, to me, it's the key to everything. The way I shared with you that Tech Nahan had presented an introductory comment for a Kuan Yin mantra with all of the nuns and the monk from his monastery. And he had said the true gift for Kuan Yin is that she listens. She has the deep and profound ability to listen to her own self. She didn't set out to be she who hears the cry of the world. She only began to listen to her own inner struggle and pain because she had a horrible life. Although she was born the daughter of an emperor, she was mistreated, she was abused, and her father tried to assassinate her. And she went deep into herself to sit with her own suffering, the pain that this created, and how overwhelmed she was by all of these situations. And more to the point, she went so deep that she learned how to accept the fact that bad things happen to everyone on the planet. You are not the only one that struggles. You know, when we're going through an experience, we think our victimization is so high and we're so sensitized, we think it's only us that experience that kind of pain. When in fact, there are people who are experiencing even worse than you. And when you sit with this and you accept it and you don't see the grass as greener on the other side, that other people are better, and why me, you just go deep and you sit with it. You begin to learn how to accept it. This is the card the universe gave me for my own karma or for whatever reason, and this is what happened. Am I going to remain broken for the rest of my life? Or am I going to learn how to prosper and thrive past this point by accepting that these things occurred and letting the emotional charge and the pain that relates to all of this and the anger and the rage to dissipate. And as all of this dissipate and begin to flatten out, then suddenly you get to the other side of this where you begin to have self-compassion, self-acceptance. And that will lead into self-love. Accepting yourself not only for your brokenness, but also in the process of this deep listening, because we keep saying morphogenic listening as if that listening, when we listen to our own brokenness, the only thing we experience is pain and suffering and hideous inner landscape. Half of the time when I go in there, I experience bliss, ecstatic bliss, expansion, alignment, where every part of my cell have a little smiley face in them. So I want to acknowledge the other side of this listening ability as well. Yes, there is the pain, but equally important is the joy, the peace, and the serenity that it provides. And the expansion that it creates. Now, because of this listening ability, yes? Somebody said something? No? Okay. Now, because of the expansion of this listening ability, you begin to get to a point where you allow yourself to be aware. And sometimes people are asking me, do this, blah, 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 and I don't do it. And then when I get the clarity and the alignment of what it is, because sometimes the struggle and the resistance is the way energetically I have to move through the landscape until I see the lesson and the wisdom. And when I have the lesson and the wisdom, I will know now I have to act. And when I act out of alignment like this, things click and they happen magically. Any questions, any comments? I want you to understand what I'm saying. That sometime when you go deeper, it's not always darkness and pain and suffering that show up. Sometimes it's profound inside liberation and alignment. It's another layer of liberation and release. Shackles, things that were around your hand, your cellular structure break, and they bring you into an ecstatic state. And when you're in that state of freedom, that's when miraculous things begin to occur. Instantaneous miraculous things begin to occur.
Yep.
Okay, Janice. So this is the situation, and this is what we need to do in order for us to become aware of the of what we need to do so that we can find the freedom and the liberation that we deserve. So this deep ability to listen sometimes can seem to be very slow and limiting, although I don't think it's slow at all. It's very fast, because the kind of growth that it has created in me is just sheer miraculous from where I was 10 years ago to where I am now. But to a lot of people who are trying to control and micromanage details and do this, that, or the other, it is often much more complicated to try to do it by the regular, I have to do this and then do this and call this, and I still have to do all of the above. But for me, it's when I have to do it. I have to find the proper timing for the alignment. And when it occurred, because I listened so deeply to myself, I know, okay, this is the time. And then everything begins. In other words, if I'm listening to myself, everything is stiff, stiff, stiff. And when the proper timing happens, I go in. And the moment that happened, I'm like, okay, this is the time for me to do this. I have to place this phone call right now. Any questions, any comments? So all of us have our own version of archon resistance that's causing us to feel like we are trapped in doubt and insecurities. And those doubt and insecurities are creating an internal war and battle inside of us that's trying to distract us from acknowledging that it is the archon. And again, stop thinking that the archon are outside, that it's other people that are infected, not us. There's not one person on the planet. It doesn't matter if you were a direct seed from God, you inhabit a vessel in a physical body whose DNA has been manipulated. Therefore, half of you is influenced by the archon. Doesn't matter. So the key is to always go back to yourself and try to figure out I'm not seeing this. I don't understand. I don't have the clarity, the ease, and all that. Let me ask Spirit for guidance for this to give me the clarity. Like Ursula was saying, you may call what Holy Spirit, Pallas Athena, whoever you're working with, Lord Melchizedek, it doesn't matter. Archangel Michael, ask them for the clarity. Drugra, it doesn't matter. Ask them for the clarity that you need. And the moment you have the clarity and you see it, the rest will become very easy for you. Because you know the protocol. You've been with me for a long time. You know what you're supposed to do. Any questions, any comments before we take a break and then do the closing meditation?
I find also, just like you said, because the energies are so intense right now, the daily Archangel Michael sword prayer is quite helpful. And when I forget one day, I do notice it. So it helps also.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing it daily as well. Yes.
Yeah, to smoothen things out.
Yes. Because we are, we're going to be in the struggle for a while.
Yep.
There are more disruption coming up.
Yeah, feel it too.
Yeah. Again, as I said, a lot of time it's because energy doesn't lie for me when I listen like this. It's like sometime like for the past day or and a half, I've been feeling like something else is showing up. And eventually I know it will manifest into an insight. And when I query, it's not directly me, it's something bigger. It's something that's connected to the world. All right, let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll do a closing meditation. 5 minutes. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And notice what you noticed. Become aware of all of the expansion energetic presence that have surrounded your being. And from your upper heart, which is now the center of your consciousness, you can clearly witness the world. The blessed field. The entire universe. Infinity times infinity. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And become aware of any locations in your body, in your life, in your spiritual and psychological well-being. That the archons are influencing. Notice what you noticed. Just keep breathing deeply and slowly. As you become the detached witness neutral, allowing yourself to uncloak the puppet masters. I see you. And I have my eyes fixed on you. As a sovereign being, you're not allowed to influence, manipulate, or interfere with my well-being. Get thee behind me. I call forth Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. And I ask you to collectively cleanse and purify from all of my bodies and my DNA all archon manipulation and influence that are exacerbating my blind spots and my weakness. Cast them out. May the specific blind spot that I'm experiencing and stuck energy that is holding me back as a result of their influence be miraculously and instantaneously be removed and taken into source. And let it be released into the blessed field. Aligning, creating a perfect vertical alignment to the celestial axis. And the very heart of God. I let go completely. It is not my responsibility to fix, repair, change, or do anything. I release completely all control to the blessed field. May the peace and the serenity of this surrender radiate from me as I add this freedom and liberation, my light to each and every one of you. I will add my light to your light. Let there be light. Let there be peace. Let there be harmony. Let there be love. Standing on the edges of the darkness and horror of war. Lord, help humanity find peace and healing. May your light, compassion, and mercy embrace and support the victims, the displaced, and the dead. illumine the hearts and mind of world leaders to find a way to resolve conflicts and disagreements without death and destruction. May all war, battles, conflicts end. Bring peace to the world. But peace cannot be demonstrated in the world if we're not individually and internally at peace with ourselves. We acknowledge our own inner brokenness, pain, suffering, and fears. Our own internal war. We ask for forgiveness for all the times since the beginning of creation until now that we have tried to hoard, attack, dominate, and conquer as a reaction to a need to survive. Attack is a loss of control and an attempt to get it back. My lack of internally and externally control is a big fear trigger, and I am afraid. I surrender that fear unto you, Lord, for you are my Redeemer. I let go completely. May it be replaced by your peace, healing, compassion, repair, and love. May the peace, serenity, and liberation that I know radiate to the world. Let humanity find peace profound by your grace and mercy. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre. That was peaceful.
Beautiful. How you all doing? How the rest of you doing? So I'm not gonna continue to any further. I'm gonna let you all go and let you enjoy the serenity and the peace that you're experiencing right now. I want to thank everyone that is listening to me on Patreon, on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, share the video, like it so that the algorithm will increase and more people, like-minded people, can follow us. I thank you very much. Deep blessings, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Love
Pierre.
Bye, everyone. Blessings to everyone. Good
God
night.
bless you, Pierre.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.